Highlands Region women display potential APEC exports. Country in urgent need of more midwives. And work steams ahead on Port Moresby's Independence Boulevard.
This is National MTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Friday's news. Women from 7 Highlands provinces have been given the opportunity to display art and craft that could end up being exported to APEC countries. A small expo is one of a series being held around the country. Among other products, the bilum featured prominently, with government representatives hoping it will become a key export item to represent PNG.
This workshop brought together women from 7 Highlands provinces. It was both a gathering of artists and entrepreneurs. The workshop and the expo was co-funded by the Department of Community Development. It is aimed at giving women the exposure to APEC representatives meeting in Port Moresby.
Basing on the criteria, those women will be selected. And those selected ones will go to Port Moresby for the bigger main APEC forum that will happen in November or April.
Such workshops and expo have been conducted all over the country, and the government representatives are hoping meetings like this will provide an avenue for local women entrepreneurs to take their work to an international platform.
I've seen in the other region that networking is doing wonders for women in terms of accessing market for their products. Because
from this workshop, judges will select a few women who will be encouraged to engage with APEC representatives and hopefully further their initiatives. Scott Waide, National MTV News.
Roadwork on the rehabilitation of the Pore Freeway and the construction of the Independence Boulevard in Port Moresby has commenced. The roadwork being built with direct funding from the Chinese government at a cost of over 20 million kina. China's ambassador to Papua New Guinea says these projects demonstrate the support of the Chinese government in helping PNG host the APEC Leaders Summit in November.
Both the rehabilitation of the Pore Freeway and the construction of the 6-lane Independence Boulevard are projects being led by the China Harbour Engineering Construction. For the Pore Freeway, roadwork has commenced between Konidobu and Hohola. The boulevard will be built linking Waigani Drive through to the Parliament House. Foundation work has commenced near the Waigani Coney Tigers Oval and the old conventional park.
The two roads project includes the rehabilitation of the Pore Freeway and the constructing of a new 6-lane government boulevard linking Waigani Drive and the Parliament House.
The Chinese government has so far supported PNG in numerous areas to host the 2018 APEC Leaders Summit in November. It has provided vehicle fleets to the 3 disciplinary forces for APEC security.
These projects fully demonstrate the strong support and confidence from the Chinese government to the PNG government to host a unique and successful APEC meeting here in Port Moresby.
It has refurbished the International Convention Center for APEC minor meetings and constructed roads to ensure there is efficient movement of APEC world leaders. Last week, the Chinese government announced it will assist PNG to host APEC in November. The news was welcomed by both the minister responsible for APEC, Justin Chechenko, and Prime Minister Peter O'Neill.
Both the Pore Freeway and the Boulevard will be the main focus of the APEC routes, where motorcades of leaders will be traveling.
Once completed, the 6-lane boulevard will be used as the main route for APEC leaders and other big events that will be celebrated at the National Parliament.
These roads and the convention center will be used by our leaders and our ministers and those who are visiting us during APEC and beyond. but Papua New Guineans will use these facilities for decades to come.
Thaklagunga, National MTV News.
In an effort to improving the quality of finance management, 20 government officers underwent studies in the fields of public policy management at the University of Papua New Guinea. The 20 were part of UPNG's graduation ceremony today. All 20 graduates gathered at Vulupindi House this afternoon to meet with Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan following their graduation. According to Dr. Nangan, the development of human resource within the public finance systems has been prioritized, especially with the current rollout of the new Finance Integrated Financial Management System.
Finance embarked on a program to upskill and reskill our Department of Finance officers working in the provinces and districts. We now have 20 who have graduated now. Together with our senior management, we've also participated in the executive MBA programs. So what you now see is that for the second year in a row, we are graduating about 20 finance officers. We're equipping and skilling public finance professionals so that they do their jobs better, to manage the public funds better, so that we see transparency and accountability.
In graduating today, these officers have also attained an international qualification, the Chartered Institute of Public Accountants from the UK, which is an added advantage.
This year we've started inviting officers working in the public finance management space across government agencies who are also participating in the...
Among the graduating officers today, Mr. Gabi Kila. A veteran officer with the Department of Finance, Mr. Kila is part of a team rolling out the IFMS throughout the country. He says the opportunity to attain these qualifications has only spurred him on to contribute more to the country through his role with the Department of Finance.
Well, I hope to support the senior management, especially the secretary, with his drive to improve the public sector finance managers reform, especially the reforms in the public sector. I think I will use those skills to support in all avenues of improving the public finance in the country.
The former head teacher for Huonville Primary School in Leh, Orama Gaitu, says the school has been operating through funds paid by parents. Gaitu spoke out when the school board called on parents to help fund makeshift classrooms for students to use after 6 classrooms were condemned by government departments for not being structurally safe. More than 1,800 students were forced out of class on Monday this week.
School since
Mr. Gaitu, who headed the school from 1995 to 2008, said the primary school only received 106,000 kina from the district 15 years ago. Gaitu says the school has been operating through financial support from the community and the parents. He said this after the school board called on parents to help fund makeshift classrooms for students to use.
As 2 meetings have been conducted for this situation, I was there with the meeting and I have seen the community are very supportive. They will come. But when the community comes, then where is the hands of the government?
On Monday this week, Huonville Primary School in Leh was ordered to shut down by the PNG Fire Service, the Health Department and the Building Board from Leh Urban Local Level Government after an inspection. 6 buildings that accommodate 24 classes were condemned. More than 1,800 students were told to stay home. Gaitu said schools need special attention from the Education Division and the national government.
Since I came here in 1995 from Eastern Britain, the school was run down. And that time, the government of Australia and Papua New Guinea were calling a top-up. So Huonville was one of the top-up in 1983 mentioned, and 1995 it commenced.
The former head teacher of Huonville Primary School for 13 years said the school has produced quality education over the last 20 years. Mr. Gaitu called on the Education Division to act quickly. He also called on the national government to help build new classrooms. Julie Badui Owa, National MTV News, Leh.
You're watching National MTV News. We go for our first break. We'll have more of the day's stories when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. The Bitapaka War Cemetery in East New Britain Province has become a centre of controversy. This comes after locals made their intentions known that they will be charging a 5 kina entry fee for every tourist who visit the cemetery. Susan McGrade, a member of the Rabaul Historical Society, has since raised concerns, claiming the fees proposed are uncalled for. She says most of the foreign tourists who visit the cemetery have a relative or know someone buried there. Ms. McGrade has made a public appeal to the East New Britain Provincial Administration to revoke the proposed visiting fee. The Bitapaka War Cemetery remains a tourist location in East New Britain Province. About 2,000 Allied soldiers who died during the Second World War were buried there. Crime Stoppers host Inspector David Terry disturbed an armed hold-up of hospital staff as they were being robbed and assaulted on the road. Inspector Terry was on his way to drop off his nephew around 9:30 p.m. last night when he witnessed the incident at Morata in the Moresby Northwest electorate. He then drew his firearm and shot at the criminals, who quickly fled the scene. The bus belonging to Gerhu General Hospital was carrying duty nurses. There were no casualties. However, the windscreen of the bus was smashed by the criminals. Inspector Terry has appealed to residents of Morata to report any sightings of injured persons from gun wounds to their legs. The matter has been reported to police. A new device to detect hypothermia among newborns and infants has been piloted in the Eastern Highlands province. The device, called the Baby Call Kilok, was introduced last year in October, and the positive effect of the device has seen many parents in the Eastern Highlands province extremely thankful. The Baby Call Kilok is a program run by UNICEF and the Eastern Highlands Provincial Health Authority through funding from the Australian government.
The hypothermia bracelet, locally named Baby Call Kilok, is a simple device that detects and alerts parents and caretakers of babies under the age of 28 days if their body temperature goes beyond or below 36.5 degrees. With the parent's permission, the device is put on a baby's wrist immediately after birth.
Baby and mother. So through this program, it's not only we are saving newborn life, also other programs like immunization program, like family planning program are being strengthened. So more or less it's strengthening the health system.
The device is targeted to minimize or eliminate neonatal deaths and mortality rate in the country. It has been piloted in the Henganofi district of Eastern Highlands province. The results have been positive for many mothers in the Savisa village.
Lolnara pla baby, this la baby and different than all 5 pla baby mikas. So time call kilo can wear him. Grow 8 days.
This line of paragraphing sabe block bikini. This a block paini mouth bikini kisim sick call or noga. Emlo this la ask me pala put him this line. You like him or noga?
Dr. Seti says the care given to mothers during pregnancy, delivery, immediate postpartum is essential for the survival of both the mother and a child. The National Department of Health, in partnership with UNICEF and WHO, rolled out the Early Essential Newborn Care Program, or EENC for short, in 11 provinces and funded by DFED and a comprehensive newborn care initiative.
We're certainly going to look closely at the evaluation results when the final results are available, but the results we've seen so far seem quite positive. Just that it's been a pleasure to come and see this project being rolled out in Eastern Highlands Province and to see the partnership.
Stacey Yellow, National EMTV News.
Here with Friday's news, we go for a break now and we'll be back with more after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to Friday's news. Turning overseas now, US President Donald Trump is planning to meet with Kim Jong-un, probably in early June. But the summit with the North Korean leader might just be doomed from the very start.
Nothing like threatening to walk out of a summit meeting before it begins, if it begins.
If the meeting when I'm there is not fruitful, I will respectfully leave the meeting.
The art of the walkout.
We end.
Now, we've seen a few Donald Trump walkouts, mostly from interviews.
It's enough.
We doubt the president would wave dismissively at Kim Jong-un. And let's hope there's no label lobbing.
You've been labeled a racist. You've been called a sexist.
Thank you very much.
How do you respond to that?
I am the least racist person you've ever met.
But things could turn negative with North Korea.
Back to the negative.
Back to the negative.
Back to the. You know what? Do this interview with somebody else.
Yeah, you don't need this.
Do it with somebody else.
Donald Trump once walked out on a Madonna concert. Years ago, walked out because the concert was terrible. In his book, The Art of the Deal, Trump dishes out advice like, know when to walk away from the table. The worst thing you can possibly do in a deal is seem desperate to make it. But you know, Kim Jong-un is probably going to be wise to these tactics because last year, Dennis Rodman gave the North Koreans a copy of The Art of the Deal. It's probably safe to assume the leaders won't call each other by names like
Little Rocket Man
and
Dotard.
After all, the president suggested he would
Respectfully leave the meeting.
He was very respectful when he walked out on Ali G, the fake rapper who tried to get Trump to invest.
These ice cream gloves.
Trump handled him with kid gloves.
Good luck, folks. It's been nice seeing you. You take care of yourself, okay?
But Mr. President, if you do walk out on North Korea, make sure you have a door to walk through.
Southwest Airlines is reaching out to passengers on that terrifying flight when an engine exploded. Passengers will receive $5,000 from the company in compensation and also a $1,000 travel voucher.
We're still hearing some dramatic stories from those who were on board when debris shattered a window. 43-year-old Jennifer Riordan was partially pulled out of the plane. At more than 30,000 feet, she did not survive. One passenger who tried to save her was an off-duty firefighter.
There was a family that lost a loved one. And I feel for her family. I feel for her two kids, her husband, the community that she lived in. I can't imagine what they're going through. I looked across the aisle to my wife after we heard some commotion in the rear of the plane. And I looked at her eyes, and she basically gave me the approval to go back there. In fact, I think she may have told me to go. Anyways, at that time is when I went to the rear of the plane. And what took place back there, I'm going to leave, out of respect for her family, I'm going to leave that alone.
For the first time in almost 60 years, the leader in Cuba is not a Castro. Raul Castro has stepped down and handed the presidency to a younger person and someone who wasn't even born when Fidel Castro came into power.
This was the moment that Cubans knew they had a new president and that the revolutionary torch had been passed. The result was never really in doubt. Cuba's National Assembly picks the island's president in theory, but the only candidate on the ballot was this man, Cuban first vice president and Raul Castro's hand-picked successor, Miguel Díaz-Canel. Cuba's new president won the vote, such as it was, 603-1. It could have been that 100% of the vote was just too much, or that one Cuban lawmaker simply didn't get the memo on who to support. Díaz-Canel is 58 and was born after the guerrilla fight that swept the Castros to power. A bureaucrat replacing revolutionaries, but one who at least still talks tough. No one will weaken the revolution or defeat the Cuban people, he said, because Cuba doesn't make concessions against its sovereignty or independence. For another 3 years, ex-Cuban President Raul Castro will hold onto the title of the first secretary of the Cuban Communist Party that sets the island's long-term agenda. Then he will turn that job as well over to his successor. He will stay on as first secretary, Castro said, to keep the road open. As Raul Castro leaves the scene, Díaz-Canel is on his way to become Cuba's new strongman. In less than a decade, Miguel Díaz-Canel has vaulted from obscurity to the pinnacle of power in Cuba. It's clear he now inherits Cuba's economic problems and still unresolved dispute with the United States. The future of the revolution is in his hands. The mark that Fidel and Raul Castro left on this island will endure for generations, Elian Gonzalez tells me, himself a supporter of the government and possible future leader. Many people say that the Castros' mandate will end, Elian says, but their ideology won't end. What they have taught us, the ideas of the Castros won't end with their mandate because Cuba is more than its government. Both worshipped and vilified, the era of the Castros is coming to a close. And now begins the hard work of figuring out what comes next.
patria o muerte, socialismo o muerte, venceremos.
Magicians hate to reveal their secrets. They apparently never do. But the producer of David Copperfield's stage show was forced to do just that because of a lawsuit.
It's called the vanishing crowd or lucky 13 illusion. David Copperfield picks participants at random by throwing 13 balls into the audience. The volunteers are placed in a cage that hovers over the stage and, abracadabra, they disappear and then reappear in the back of the room. Well, the cat's out of the bag.
Once these lights come on, they are outside of the physical prop.
Right.
Once a group of lights comes on.
Now, during this time period, they're en route, let's say, right? Correct. They're en route to appear in the back of the theater.
Yes.
That's executive producer Chris Kenner explaining how the magic trick works.
And then this is a little hallway covered at the top. They would come through and then step down the stairs. That would be the first exit out of the...
In reality, the participants are led through back passageways in the hotel, through a kitchen at a quick speed so they can pop up and surprise the audience. A man named Gavin Cox took part in the trick in 2013 and says he tripped backstage and fell into a dark construction zone. He claims to have permanent brain damage. A year after the incident, Cox filed suit against Copperfield, the MGM Grand Hotel, and 3 other companies connected to the show. Copperfield told the court the night Cox participated in the trick, he ran the course with no problems.
You said that if there was an obstacle or a problem in the way,
and I didn't deal with it, if I didn't do anything about it, and during my runaround, I took a pass before, if I saw it and didn't deal with it, it would be my fault for sure.
Here, there's a person standing right here.
Right.
Copperfield's executive producer says he never got the impression Cox was seriously injured.
He said that a gentleman slipped during the trick and fell. At the trick, he spoke to him and asked him if he was okay. He said yes. Mr. Cox said yes.
Back home now, and the Hela Inaka Relief Group, who has been organizing fundraising in Port Moresby for the quake-affected victims in Hela province, today officially handed over relief supplies to Oil Search. A total of 30 44-gallon drums, 250 containers, clothing and other immediate supplies were given to Oil Search, witnessed by Member for Taripori and Finance Minister James Marape.
For the past 4 to 5 weeks, a group of mothers had come together to form the Hela Inaka Group to assist families in their home province in Hela that had been affected by the 7.5 magnitude earthquake in February. The Hela Inaka Group had been in close consultation with affected villages on the ground. Vice Chair Lady Kathy Pitt says the fundraisings and donations received by residents and business houses in Port Moresby were used to purchase the items and will be transported by Oil Search to Hela province.
All stayed here, all this is handmade. All this is made from your hands. It's not factory made on them, and it's done with love and care. So that's special. All these products going up there are very special.
The supplies that will reach Hela will aid 200 families in Bosavi, Yolanda and Guala. The items purchased include spades, bush knives, water containers, nails ranging from 3 to 6 inches, clothing such as blankets and warm shirts for children, male adult and female adults. The 30 water drums will be donated to 3 care centers in Bosavi, Guala and Yolanda.
And we appreciate on record, I speak also on behalf of the national government, but also on behalf of the Hela people, the continual support that Oil Search continues to give in as far as helping our people in Hela province and the other 5 provinces affected. So please, Leon and Wayne, and all the team from Oil Search, please convey our appreciation to the board, to the shareholders of Oil Search, to the board and to the management of Oil Search, that everyone has a responsibility. We all are part of a family unit. We all are part of a clan unit. We all are part of a tribal unit back in the province. And if every one of us, as evident in the time of disaster where we've all pulled together, if we can still muscle the same spirit and not only stop here but go back home, and whether it's talking about law and order, or whether it's talking about women empowerment or child empowerment or refocusing them on education, I offer you the space up there in our electorate and in our province.
Upon congratulating the group, Minister Marto and his wife donated 5,000 kina to the Hela Inaka group to register their group for future community engagement in Hela province. Mr. Marpe says he is impressed by the group's efforts and its intention to be on the ground to assist in restoration and peace efforts following the earthquake and power struggles in the province. Stacey Yallo, National MTV News.
You're with National MTV News. We go for a break now. When we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with Rugby League and some updates from the SPPNG Hunters. In an interview today on FM 100 Talkback, SPPNG Hunters coach Michael Marum admitted the Hunters have had a tough start to the season, and that is something they look to turn around in this weekend's Round 7 clash against South Logan Magpies.
We brought in a lot of new players into the side again this year, so and again we had a tough start to the season. We faced off a really tough teams there, so not like previous years. We've now played some of the big teams, but as defending champions, everyone wants to put the best game against you. So and again, it just we still relying on our experienced players there, but again injuries are coming into play, and we're not consistent in making sure we put the same 13 on 2-3 weeks in a row. So that's probably one thing that we've been really working hard on. So we're positive. There's a lot of improvement in those new players as well. So all the boys came through from Diesel Cup. So unlike the other teams, they pick their players from the best competitions in Queensland and the NRL side. So it's tough on us.
To hockey, and Vanuatu's under-18 men's and women's hockey teams arrived in the country today ahead of this year's under-18 Oceania Youth Olympic qualifiers to be hosted here in Port Moresby. The men's team coach Maltungtung Nessa says the men's team started their training last year and have prepared well for this tournament. PNG Hockey Federation President Kalwin Portuan says the tournament will feature 4 countries in Australia, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, and hosts PNG. Godwin Eki with the details.
Team Vanuatu will see both of its men's and women's teams compete next week against Australia, Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands. Men's coach Maltungtung Nase says his players are confident and are only here for one reason: to win the qualifiers and attend the Youth Olympic Games later this year.
Mifalai been prepared good. Mifalai prepared start last year. Mifalai kat under 18 league. We start with Kasemen player. After I've been select them like all best player, lo league, lo pre-squad and final squad. So I'm a side low boys. Me play prepare hard. Me play kat all small friendly tournament with them all senior player plum fla. Mo me play kat one team lo Adelaide, lo Southern Australia. Will been come mo kat one friendly match with them all under-18 team lo Mifala.
He says players have had enough exposure playing overseas and having played against their senior teams, a team from Adelaide, and the tournament shouldn't be a challenge.
Mifla lol boy, especially Mr. Tok lo side lol boy from me coach lol boy. Mifla work hard, mifla emblem fla blo disya blo Pokemon place plum fla blo concert lo Youth Olympic lo Argentina.
Maltungtung described Vanuatu's first match against Australia to be a tough and challenging one.
Team Mifla just got 3 no more really experience really started part lo pre-squad lo senior. So all the rest me all new one really come when play select them all kita really got good fla hockey skills. All is have work hard. Play say pamphlet me want something lo yeah.
President of PNG Hockey Federation, Kalwin Portuan, says this year's under-18 Oceania Youth Olympic qualifiers will determine which teams in the region will qualify to attend the Youth Olympics in October.
The competition starts on Wednesday and they're playing 2 rounds each. Each day they will have two games each till it finishes on Friday and the finals on Saturdays. The World Qualifiers is maybe 1 and 2 be selected to go to Buenos Aires. Preparations are good. They came here for the trials and they're gone back. And then they're coming back today.
from Ley, Isubiden and Kimbe, and Moresby at the Balka here.
He says PNG's hockey team is well and truly ready to face the rest of Oceania. Team Australia and Solomon Islands will be arriving on Sunday. Godwin Eki, National, MTV Sports.
You're with Trukai Sports. We'll have more coming your way after these messages. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To the National Soccer League now, and the Toti City Dwellers are still sitting comfortably on the top of the points ladder with 26 points, 11 points clear of second-placed FC Moresby Wowens on 15. NSL round 13 matches will go ahead as scheduled, with Besta PNG United backing up from a win last weekend, facing the might of the City Dwellers in Ley. The Moresby Wowens will line up against rivals Madang in the second game, also at the Sir Ignatius Kilage Stadium. The third match of the triple header will see bottom-placed Buang FC prove their worth against FC Moresby, who are currently separated on a goal difference from the Southern Strikers, while the Southern Strikers youngsters are on a well-deserved bye this weekend. Still on football, and the Port Moresby Schools Football Association is on track to kick off this weekend with keen youth participation. School football enthusiasts will strive to find their way into the boys and girls under 18, 16, 14, 12 and 10 teams for the Australian tour later this year.
Schools football teams throughout the national capital will kick off from 8 a.m. tomorrow morning at selected school fields and the Bissini football grounds. After the games, a corporate dinner will be held at the same evening to raise funds for the school's football and the Australian tour. The association says this year is an exciting year because of the Australian tour and also the PNG Football Association Youth Tournament in June, of which Port Moresby Schools Football Association has agreed bid in partnership with the Port Moresby Soccer Association. Youth players in the school's football academy and in the National Soccer League team, Southern Strikers Football Club will also strive to make the PNG Under-17 and Under-20 team going to the AFC Youth World Cup qualifiers in the Solomon Islands and Tahiti later this year. The association says Port Moresby Schools Football will be working closely with the Port Moresby Soccer Association and the PNG Football Association and hope to introduce this concept next year to other centers as part of the football development pathway with PNGFA. The challenge now is for the parents to get their kids to football every Saturday morning and get involved in the fundraising dinner tomorrow evening at the Grand Palace Restaurant, RH Gardens. The Port Moresby Schools football competition starts from under 6 to under 18 boys and girls. Shane Saroya, National, MTV Sports.
To the Football World Cup now, and about 164,000 tickets have been allocated to fans from right around the world in the first 24 hours of the last-minute sales phase, which started in Moscow last week. Most of the tickets have been allocated to fans from Russia, followed by fans from Latin America, the US, Germany, China and Egypt. These last-minute sales will be open until the 15th of July. During this period, fans are able to purchase tickets online, subject to availability in real time on a first-come, first-served basis. And that brings us to the end of Trukai Sports for this evening. We go for a break. When we come back, the weather details. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Port Moresby, late thunderstorms and a thunderstorm expected tomorrow afternoon as well. To Daru, partly cloudy with showers tonight with a few chances of thunderstorms tomorrow. Kerema, overcast with a stray shower and variable cloudy weather tomorrow. Partly cloudy for Alotau and early showers expected in Popondetta and a mostly cloudy day after. To the Momasa region, cloudy with some showers expected in Ley and Wau. Cloudy and warm tonight and some morning thunderstorms expected with cloudy weather tomorrow in Madang. Wewak and Vanimo can expect some rain and a late thunderstorm tonight and the same forecast for tomorrow. To the New Guinea Islands region, Lorangau can expect some rain and an early thunderstorm this evening, with much the same weather for tomorrow. Cloudy and warm this evening for Kavieng, with some late downpours. Considerable cloud in Kimbe, with a chance of afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow. Rabaul, Kokopo and Buka can expect late thunderstorms and an afternoon thunderstorm or two. And to the Highlands region, some spotty thunderstorms expected early on for Goroka, with cloudy weather tomorrow. Early thunderstorms and showers for Kundiawa, rain and drizzle expected in Mount Hagen. Evening thunderstorms expected in Madang, and mostly cloudy weather and thundery showers expected in Wabag tomorrow.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Before we go, a story about an alarming case of a shortage of midwives in the country. Paula Puawe, a course coordinator for the Bachelor of Midwifery program at the University of Goroka, says the country urgently needs more midwives. Paula's call comes after realizing the continuous lack of support from the national government towards investing in midwifery education. She says to date there are only 800 registered midwives in the country compared to the country's population of over 7 million.
Comparing PNG's growing population of over 7 million, the current record of 800 registered midwives in the country is sad, says Paula Puawe.
Midwifery education in PNG is not progressing as it should be. In Papua New Guinea, we have 5 midwifery schools, and we are only educating 15 students per year.
Paula, a midwife by profession, has been coordinating the midwifery courses at the University of Goroka.
We were just trying to do the normal things. For a nation to be a nation of midwives, we only see the numbers. Some numbers may not be included. It is sad to see this happening because PNG has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the Asia Pacific, second only to Afghanistan. Afghanistan has worse. Unlike in PNG, we have no worse. There's no reason why women should be dying at the rate they are dying. 3 women die every day, and babies are dying.
She says the provincial government and their health authorities should take midwifery seriously, as it is midwife skills that are important to save a mother and a baby's life.
Newborn babies who are dying within the 28 days are the responsibility of midwives. We have only 800 midwives registered in this country practicing midwifery. If we had more, then there's no reason why we should have these maternal deaths. Our country's wealth is reflected by its indicators. The maternal and neonatal health indicator is the lowest in this country.
Paula says the current neonatal mortality rate of 29 newborn deaths per 1,000 live births in PNG only reflects the government's efforts in the area of midwifery, as it is the midwives who are specialized in caring for a mother and a baby during the first crucial 28 days.
I thought that I have to come for study because my province was lacking midwives. There is not enough midwives in my province, in my districts, and even in my rural health facilities.
Currently, there are 48 final year midwifery students at the university, most of whom have worked in the provincial hospitals and health centers. Some of the students, such as Letty, has been fortunate enough to be funded by UNICEF. Stacey Yallo, National EMTV News.
And to end the news, a look at our top stories this evening. Women in the Highlands region display potential APEC exports, warning on a shortage of midwives in the country, and works teams ahead on Port Moresby's roadworks. And that has been the news, sport and weather for today, Friday the 20th of April 2018. On behalf of the EMTV News team from right around the country, pleasant viewing for the rest of the evening. Good night.